checking our work. After a patient has been on those ventilator settings, looking comfortable, returning to baseline on each breath, which you're going to determine not only by looking at the patient, but also by looking at the ventilator graphics, we're going to get an arterial blood gas. And because we're going to need serial arterial blood gas, we're going to need several of them. We're going to do our best to get a physician or to place an arterial blood gas line ourselves if it's something that we're trained to do. And that's going to allow us to get as many arterial blood gases as we need. But if we do have to stick the patient, this is crucial medicine, we need to do this. So we're going to go back to high school medicine just for a very short time while we talk about the patient's pH. Now remember, the lower the pH, the more acidic it is, and the higher the pH, the more alkalemic it is. And carbon dioxide is very, very acidic. That's what our body is constantly doing with ventilation. It's preventing our body from going acidemic. So we're going to check this blood gas, and we've got some values that are a little bit more, that our body is a little bit more static about, that our body is a little less willing to tolerate variation. pH, our body really doesn't want to be very far below 7.35 or very far above 7.45. Now our CO2, 35 to 45, we can have some variance on, especially in patients who have obstructive disorders like emphysema, like chronic bronchitis, COPD. We might see CO2 retention, a resting CO2 that's in the 50s. That's okay if the patient also has an elevated HCO3 or bicarb. That we're going to want to see what our pH is. So if we have a patient with a pH of 7.39 and a very high CO2, we're not looking to fix that CO2. That's that patient's baseline. So we do need to take that into account when making any decisions about changes in ventilation, in oxygenation for our ventilator. And again, all of these changes are being made by the attending physician, preferably by a pulmonologist or a critical care specialist, and we're just the entire point of this is that we know what we're doing and why we're doing it. Now our PO2 should be between 75 and 100. When we have a patient on 100% FiO2, sometimes we're going to see that number very, very high. A lot of students and new clinicians are surprised to see PO2s above 300 or 400. They can go far above 100. Saturation is a percentage. It can never go above 100. But we do need to be cognizant of that PO2. And in this case, much more importantly, we want to make sure that it's high enough. Sometimes we will see it drop down to the 60s. We don't want to see it go much lower than that. We're going to do our best to keep it in the 75 to 100 range.